Welcome back to another lecture on managing the supply chain. So today we're going to talk about designing distribution networks. In this chapter, we will talk about the key design factors that will affect how we are designing the entire distribution network. Also, we're going to talk about different kinds of networks that already exist and businesses, supply chains are built based on and their weaknesses as well as their strengths. So we're going to talk about some real world examples in this chapter. First of all, let's talk about distribution network. So what is a distribution network? Consider a supply chain. So in a supply chain, usually we have raw material suppliers, we have manufacturing centers, assembly centers, we have distribution centers, warehouses, retail stores, and also end customers. So the entire system is connected so that raw materials, work in process, as well as final goods can be moved around. So we need a network that connects everything together and enables us to ship the final product to our customers. And designing the network gonna directly affect the entire business. So, if you remember in the previous lectures, we talked about companies deciding about their strategic fit, about their supply chain strategy and business strategy and how they align. So, some companies decide to offer low cost to their customers. Some companies decide to offer fast shipments, being more responsive in terms of customer request and demand. So the network design, the distribution network design will directly affect if we can be cost efficient or we can be responsive in delivering to our customers. There is an example here. Gateway was a computer actually company back in 80s in the United States, and they designed their distribution network in a way that customers could order from a centralized locations and then products will be delivered to the customers. So after some time, when there were developments in technology, so people were more interested in going to the store, a nearby store, seeing the computers and purchasing them. So they really didn't need that much of customization because technology was good enough. Not necessarily people needed to do any personalization or customization on their computers. So, but Gateway failed actually to deliver such service to their customers. And later, in 2007, actually, Acer acquired Gateway computers. Another example is Dell and HP. So if you remember in our previous lectures and previous covered topics, we talked about Dell strategy. Actually, Dell was first um, manage their supply chain in a way that customer again could personalize and customize their computers so that they could actually place an order and they'll worked on their orders and deliver them from centralized locations. Later, around 2004, Dell decided that basically to change their strategy, change their network design in a way that they can offer the computers in retail stores. HP actually decided to go with retail stores, so they offered people computers in retail stores, so in different kind of retail stores, so people could actually go there and see computers and purchase them. So each of these companies had a particular distribution network. Um, when a customer places an order, have the order will be processed and shipped to the customers will be decided based on the business distribution network. So when we are designing a distribution network for a supply chain, we should consider two main factors. First, what is important to our customers? Uh, do they want low cost? Do they want fast shipment? Do they want easy return if they want to return something, so it's easy for them to do it? So what do they want? So actually, what segment of customers we are trying to capture? So Walmart has a specific segment of customers who value low cost. Whole Foods has a specific segment of customers who value, for example, high quality, right? So what exactly our business wants, what kind of customers, and then what those customers value. So that will directly affect our decisions on designing the distribution network of the supply chain. And also, obviously, the cost for the entire business. Business is running because it needs profit. So there are so many different kind of costs, cost of holding inventory, cost of transportation, all the facilities such as warehouses, distribution centers, operations, as well as the information infrastructure. We need D to actually um, coordinate with many different units in the supply chain and transfer information all the time. So these two factors directly affect the distribution network design, and we're going to talk about them. So first, let's start with customer value. What exactly customers might value when they want to purchase a product or a service from a business? A customer might be interested in response time. Maybe they value short response time. For example, a person who decides to purchase from Amazon instead of going to the store values maybe to some extent response time, right? So because again, they want to just get a fast shipment a day overnight shipment. So instead of spending some time going long distance to a store, just staying home, placing the order can do the work. Some customers might value product variety. So having access to many different things at once. So let's say that you want to walk into a retail store where there are groceries as well as home development um, products. So you have access to a variety of products at once. Product availability. So maybe there are customers who would like to go to a store and always see full shelves, no empty shelves. So that is something maybe some people are interested in. Customer experience. So again, some people are interested to go to a store in person, speak to someone, ask for advice. So that helps them to have a good experience for their shopping. Some other people might not be really interested in speaking with anyone. They just want to sit at home and just place the order. So customer experience can be different. Time to market means that if we are talking about specifically technology products, people might be interested to see the newest up-to-date technology available to them. So time to market means that when a company decides to release a new product, it takes a short time for them to actually work on a new product and release it. So these days, everyone is working on AI, everyone is trying to incorporate AI into their products somehow. So obviously it's because of the demand out there. So people are interested to see, for example, Apple is including AI features in their iPhone, or Samsung is doing so, and so on and so forth. And people are interested to see new developments coming to the market as fast as possible. Order visibility. So when you're placing an order online, I'm sure that you want to know exactly where your order is. So if it is Amazon, Amazon actually gives you tracking, right? So you can see where the order is, when it's delivered, how it's delivered. Other companies as well. So you place an order online. Others, if they're using UPS or FedEx, actually they're tracking numbers and it's possible to check it out. So this is another value for the customers. And also, customers are interested these days, specifically when they are placing online orders, to be able to easily actually return the product if they don't want it. So what happened here, for example, Amazon worked with different other companies. For example, Amazon is now acquired Whole Foods, so you can return your products in Whole Foods. They worked with other companies. Um, um, so there are different locations basically that where you can return your Amazon. So think about it. If you have done so, remember which stores actually you return your Amazon, and actually they're trying to make it convenient for you in terms of return. So it is no cost, easy access locations to return the products. So we want to talk about the things that customers value in terms of designing the distribution network. So obviously, some customers do value response time, so fast deliveries, easy access, fast access to the products they want is something that they actually value. So, how we can actually deliver that response time? Obviously, if we have different large number of warehouses close to the customers, so we can easily deliver to them fast, right? So this was a strategy by Amazon. They wanted to be close to the customers so they can promise 1 day delivery or 2 day deliveries, right? So, or overnight deliveries. So they started building up many fulfillment centers so that they are close to customers and can promise that. So in this graph, it shows that as the number of facilities increase, actually the desired response time decreases, right? So if you have many facilities, warehouses, distribution centers, retail stores close to the customers, then actually customers can walk in quickly, grab something, or they can place online orders and get them delivered fast. But again, increasing the number of facilities will add some cost to the supply chain. We're going to talk about the cost later in this lecture. So let's talk about the cost. So we do have different kind of cost in our supply chain. Obviously, we need to keep inventory in warehouse centers, distribution centers, retail stores. We do have some transportation costs. We are shipping goods from manufacturers to the distribution centers and from distribution centers to the customers or to the retail store. So there are a lot of transportation costs involved in this distribution network. Also, we have facilities. So, for example, let's say that we have 5 facilities, we want to build more. There are some cost. There are maintenance costs, labor cost, energy cost of these facilities, and we need to consider them as well. And information costs. So if we want to enable customers to track the delivery of their products, so we should have a very strong IT infrastructure that enables this. Uh, online tracking of products. So then we can take a look how these costs going to affect the performance of the distribution network and how these costs will actually shape um, decisions toward different kind of designs of these networks. So let's say that we're talking about number of facilities, right? So if we want a better response time, we have to increase the number of facilities. For example, Amazon acquired Whole Foods because they wanted to compete with Walmart. Walmart is really efficient because they have a lot of warehouses and retail stores very close to customers, very optimized in terms of their distribution network. So Amazon wanted to actually have a physical appearance for the customers as well. So they acquired Whole Foods to get closer, and they suddenly got access to this huge possibility of a brick and mortar um, physical appearance and availability for their customers. They invested $13 billion in 2017 to acquire Whole Foods and actually expand their access to the customers. So better response time, more facilities, but higher inventory cost. So for each facility, we have to keep product in those facilities. But also for each facility, such as a warehouse or a distribution center, we have to keep extra inventory, which is known as the basically excess inventory or safety inventory, safety stock or buffer stock. So why we are doing that? Because we are just forecasting the demand. Demand is uncertain. It is about future. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. It might be higher than expected. So we are keeping extra stuff so that we don't run out of them. If we have many facilities, we have to keep many more of these safety stocks in every single facility so that we make sure that the facility will not run out of stock. In terms of transportation cost, we can categorize it into inbound and outbound transportation. Inbound transportation is when we are shipping final goods from our manufacturing centers to our distribution centers or to our warehouses. So usually we can use full truckloads. We are shipping a lot of stuff into a warehouse, right? So we can fill the entire truck so that because of the economies of scale, we can reduce the cost of this transportation. We do also have outbound transportation, meaning that from the distribution or from the retail, we're gonna ship to the customers, but it's gonna be just a small proportion. So maybe only a couple of packages that goes to a customer. And usually outbound transportation cost is higher than inbound transportation cost. So here is the relationship between transportation cost and facilities. So better response time, more number of facilities, but if we increase the number of facilities, what happens to transportation cost? So it is interesting that transportation costs first will decrease as we increase the number of facilities. At some point, we get into the minimum cost. After that point, by adding more facilities, we are increasing the transportation cost. And the reason is that when we are adding more facilities, it means that inbound transportation cost will increase. Because now we have many stores and many stores are actually shipping to the customers. So there are so many shippings happening in small scale and usually more expensive. Outbound transportation cost But at some point, outbound transportation cost might fall. The reason is that, again, we are achieving economies of scale by increasing the number of facilities. So let's say that one single truck can now fulfill several facilities, right? So instead of sending out half a truck to a facility, now we have two facilities. We can fill the entire truck, have a full truckload that goes and delivers to these two facilities. And now we can actually reduce the transportation cost because of economies of scale. We have full truckload, less per unit cost of transportation. So again, here is where supply chains needs to figure out. So for each supply chain, this number of facilities will be different depending on their operations, they scale, they are operating, but the optimum number of facilities is where basically the transportation cost becomes minimum in this case. And then facility cost versus number of facilities. Obviously, as we are increasing the number of facilities, the cost will increase as well. And the reason is that there are so many different costs involved in terms of maintenance, labor, energy, keeping up all the operations and processes and machineries and everything. So as we are opening new facilities, we are adding more cost to the system. Finally, we can talk about total logistics cost. So logistics is not just transportation. Logistics include transportation as well as inventory and facility costs. So it is the summation of these three different costs, and actually we can draw total logistic cost versus number of facilities. So interestingly, when we are increasing number of facilities, total logistic cost first will decrease and then at some point will increase. And this is because of actually transportation costs. If you remember in the transportation cost versus facility, it first reduces, actually decreases and then increases, right? So that affects the total logistic cost as well. And another interesting observation is that we talked about response time versus number of facilities. And interestingly, there is a point that these two will actually meet, right? And that's an interesting point. It shows that not necessarily minimum response time means minimum cost. So if we want to reduce response time, we might get a point that we are increasing our logistic cost. So for example, again, Amazon, because they wanted to be the most responsive business out there, they decided to add cost of the system in return of being very responsive. Right? So there is a trade-off here. What customer values versus cost and how we want to balance it. Obviously, we can look for a point where the logistic cost is minimized. Maybe if the business is more cost efficient, they should go for it. But if the business is more responsive, then they might be okay with higher cost. And sometimes customers are paying that extra cost rather than the business itself. So let's check your knowledge of what we just covered. Please take a look at these questions, think about them based on what we just covered, and then you can find the answers in the next slide. Question number 1. A company is deciding whether to expand from 3 distribution centers to 8 distribution centers. Which of the 4 cost components, inventory, transportation, facility, and information, will increase and which will decrease? Explain your answers. You can take a look at those figures and graphs and explain your answer. Question number 2. Amazon's fulfillment center strategy has shifted from a handful of large national DCs to hundreds of local facilities. Using related figures that we just covered, what does this tell about Amazon's strategy priority? Cost minimization or being more responsive? Third question, why are outbound transportation costs per unit typically higher than inbound costs? Give a real-world example to justify your answer. And last question, a startup grocery delivery company is considering two models, one large central warehouse serving an entire area and 5 micro fulfillment centers spread across the city. Using the 7 value dimensions of customers we just talked about, argue which models, which one work better.